What is everybody? Kyle Murray from FTNbets.com. One of those nerds that believe in the analytics. That is me, as you heard in the intro. I'm here to bring another video betting with a model here, and not that kind of model, the numbers kinds of models. But each and every week I'm going to be bringing a different model video talking about how I make bets, particularly prop bets using models that we have available at FTNbets.com. And keep in mind, we have other tools as well that you can use to make informed bets outside of these projection models that Jeff and I have put up on FTN Bets, FTN Daily, FTN Fantasy, all three sites. These models are up there each and every week, so you can use those tools to make good, strong bets, in my opinion. But there are plenty of other tools as well. We have the splits tool, the pace tool, some matchup tools, lots of things that you can use to go and make good bets each and every week. But this video series is going to be for using models in particular. So as you can see on the screen, we have these NFL stat projections up. These are my personal projections that I put up each and every week. And this week, again, back with 4 more picks. Last week, I think we went 3 for 4 in the video there. We got some really good closing line value on Emmanuel Sanders, but the bet still did not cash, as Emmanuel Sanders ended up being more involved in that offense than I thought. So I was wrong on that one. I will take the L there. But it's always good when you get, I think it was like 16 yards of difference there that moved in our favor after we made the bet. So I'll take that change there, or I'll take the process there, but obviously the outcome was not great. But anyway, let's get into the bets this week, starting off with Donovan Peoples-Jones over 29.5 receiving yards. So let's pull him up right here. Donovan Peoples-Jones played 80% of snaps last week after Odell Beckham was ruled out, and Anthony Schwartz seemed to be the guy that was, the big-time playmaker. He was the one that came out here and made the catches, had all the receiving yards. But Donovan Peoples-Jones playing 80% of the snaps, I think targets are going to follow when you're on the field that much. I think it's unlikely that he continues to play 80% of snaps and doesn't see, 3, 4, 5 targets out there. And, with the matchup being as good as it is, and with him being a more dynamic down the field type playmaker, I think 29.5 is a really small number. And I have him for north of 50 on just around 4 catches. So I really like Donovan Peoples-Jones this week. The matchup is good against Houston. A little concerned about the potential negative game script here. Obviously, the Browns can turn to a run-heavy offense very quickly, and that's kind of what they like to do. But 29.5 is a very small number, so I don't think it's going to take a whole lot. I think there's a good chance to hit this even in the first half potentially. It's just because it's not that big of a number. But again, continuing to play that many snaps is what I'm expecting with Odell out once again. So if he's going to be up near 80, 70, 80% of snaps, the target should be there. I don't think, we're going to see another performance where he goes out there, plays 80% of snaps, and only sees 3% of targets. Now, again, one thing I do want to point out is Anthony Schwartz lines are almost identical. You can find him at 29.5, and the catch props for both of these guys are also at 2.5 around markets. So if you prefer Schwartz, that's fine. He did see more targets last week, but he also got, the hot hand treatment, right, where he made a couple big plays and they kept going to him. Donovan Peoples-Jones, in my opinion, is going to be the guy here. When you're talking about some of the snap counts, again, I already mentioned Donovan Peoples-Jones around 80%, and obviously Jarvis Landry is going to be there. He's going to be a big part of it. But Anthony Schwartz last week had 18% of the team's targets while only playing 52% of the team's snaps. So again, you're seeing a pretty inverse correlation there with Peoples-Jones playing the majority of the snaps, playing 30% more than Schwartz, while Schwartz is seeing 18.5% of the targets compared to Donovan Peoples-Jones, who was down around 3 or 4. So again, I think those flip on the head, and that's why I prefer Donovan Peoples-Jones. But I do want to make the point that if you prefer Schwartz, you can get these kinds of numbers, pretty much identical numbers, 29.5 and 2.5 passing receptions. So that's one thing to note. Second bet on the board today is Alvin Kamara over 4.5 catches at plus 110. So, the big reason why I like this is because I think he hits it, but also getting Alvin Kamara for 5 catches at plus money, I think is really nice. We didn't necessarily see him have a big game last week. He only had 3 catches, but in my opinion, you're taking that New Orleans game and you're throwing it out the window in terms of looking at samples. It was an absolute boat race. They were up by, it seemed like 30 in a blink of an eye. They won 38-3. They really let off the gas. Kamara only played 70% of the snaps. Obviously, I think there's going to be some mixing in of Tony Jones, but I still think we're going to see Kamara play probably more than 72% of the snaps most weeks, and he's going to be heavily involved. Even in those 72% of snaps, he had a 20% target share in a spot where the Saints just didn't have to throw the ball. Now, again, we could see them win here fairly easily. I think Carolina is not as good a team as the Packers. I think obviously that was a wacky week, but over 4.5 catches for a guy that I have just under 6 at 5.97, as you can see on the screen now. But I also have him for over 8 targets. I think Kamara is going to be that big of a influence in this passing game. Again, 20% target share. I think Saints will have to throw a bit more this week, and I think Kamara is going to be a big part of that. So Alvin Kamara over 4.5 catches. I actually put this in as a 2-unit bet over on FTN bets because I really, really like that it's plus 110. So again, one of my favorite bets of the week, and I wanted to bring it here to this video, which you can find for free every single week. Third on the board is Cortland Sutton over 50.5 receiving yards. Let's pull his numbers up right here. Cortland Sutton, I'm a little concerned about some of the health stuff. We've heard a lot of the offseason how he wasn't quite rehabbing as well as the coaching staff would have liked, and some stuff like that. But with Jerry Jeudy being out, Cortland Sutton has that number 1 wide receiver role once again. Like Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler are fine, but they aren't wide receiver 1 material. Sutton's going to be the number 1 wide receiver. Now, sure, that's not to say that he's going to get peppered with targets and he's going to be the focal point of his offense. There's actually a surprising amount of weapons in this Denver offense. You have 2 tight ends that were involved last week. Obviously, Noah Fant being more involved than Albert O. And then you have 2 running backs as well, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, who should be involved, especially in a game script that should favor them. However, 50.5, again, a line that I just don't think is big enough. Even if the game script is poor, I still think it's just a number that's not big enough for Cortland Sutton here. I have him for, as you can see on the screen, 71 receiving yards on only 4.5 catches. He's a big play threat. The matchup's a really good one that obviously invokes some potential big plays. Last week we saw Brandon Cooks go for five catches in 130 yards. So you don't necessarily need a ton of catches to pay off here at this 50.5 number. Minus 115 on DraftKings is where I found it. But again, we'll pull up the prop shop at the end of the show to see if we can find some better lines, as I made these bets a little bit earlier in the week. And then finally, we're going to go over to Jeff's player prop tool. And at the top here, you can see Laviska Shenault rushing yards. The line is 0.5, which is the exact number that it was last week, which Matthew Friedman also had in his bet tracker last week. Net cashed, he had 1 carry for 9 yards. That's all you need. And he made a really good point, actually, in the bet tracker, that basically what you're betting on here is that he gets 1 carry. Because obviously there are chances, he goes backwards, whatever. But typically you're going to get a positive gain, right? You need 1 yard here. And I think one thing that was very interesting for me is obviously he had the 1 carry, but a lot of his targets were designed screenplays. I could see maybe one of those passes going backwards turning into a carry. Not that I'm banking on that, but what my point is that Laviska Shenault is not only a priority in the offense, but a priority for designed plays. So that's huge for me, in my opinion. And again, if he gets 1 carry here, I think he obviously hits this number where he needs 1 yard. So banking on him getting 1 carry at minus 115, I really do like. And again, I think there's even a possible chance that he gets a few carries, whether that be maybe a backwards pass or, using him, on a jet sweep. I think there are going to be plenty of ways where they're trying to get a little bit unique here with Laviska Shenault, as they did last week. So again, Laviska Shenault over 0.5 rushing yards at minus 115 over on DraftKings, but he has this at William Hill, minus 115, same bet on both sites. But let's head over to the prop shop, see if we can find some better lines than what I found. We'll start off with Donovan Peoples-Jones. Here, like I mentioned, I had him at 29.5 receiving yards at minus 120. Receiving yards, looks like it's 29.5 across the board except for at PointsBet. So if you like the under, you could probably go to PointsBet. Personally, I don't like the under, but it looks like minus 110 is actually the best place to get it over at DraftKings. And I actually had it at minus 120. So here you can use the prop shop here to find a better number there. And again, you always wanting to do this to get the most out of your dollar, right? So it's a huge priority here, and this prop shop helps out with a ton. Now let's try out Alvin Kamara here. So we took him over 4.5 receptions. So now we have 3 places where they're offering 4.5 receptions, all between 141 and 145. So not a huge, tremendous difference, but if you are trying to get the most bang for your buck, looks like this is Caesars, I believe, minus 141 compared to DraftKings at minus 145. I actually found it at plus 110 early in the week. So again, that number is moving in our favor a little bit, but obviously, this video comes out Friday, so this was in the bet tracker earlier in the day, but again, I found it at plus 110, so I got a bit lucky with that line there. But let's head on over to Cortland Sutton, where we had him over 50.5 receiving yards at minus 115. Receiving yards, yep, looks like that number is the exact same across the board, across the industry, across these 4 markets. So no difference there. And let's try out Chenault here. So rushing yards, 0.5 at Caesars, -115. Again, we found him at DraftKings and William Hill at -115. So that line is also pretty exclusive across the markets. So again, just a couple things to keep in mind. You can use these models to find the bets that you like, and then you can use the prop shop to shop for the best possible number, so you're getting the most value on your dollar. A couple of things that are very important, and, you know, I'm guilty of this sometimes. Sometimes I'll go to the book where I've been making the most bets, where maybe I have the most money, and I'll do a lot of bets on one site. That isn't necessarily the best way to go about it, though. I will admit that's probably a habit of mine that I should try to shake, and using the prop shop has helped me a lot, especially during this NFL season. But keep in mind that that is something to take advantage of. Prop shop is free, so you're seeing this video on YouTube for free. If you're not a subscriber, I think you should be. We now have all sports included over at FTN Bets, so you buy one package, you get all the sports, which I think is a huge upside in terms of buying that package that we used to have where you would purchase per sport. But now we have all sports included, and I think that is a massive, massive value because we have so many guys crushing so many different sports. But again, if you're watching this on YouTube for free, you can use this prop shop for free. A couple of other tools that we have for free as well. So feel free to check those out, and I would recommend subscribing. You can use promo code KMER to get yourself 20% off. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Good luck, everybody. Hope these bets cash. We will see you next week with another betting with a model video. Until next time, good luck, everybody.